Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Read With Me. I am your host, Kelly Michelle. This is a channel that focuses on reading together separately. I will choose a book. We will read that book throughout the month, and then on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I will post my thoughts and reflections from the chapter or chapters that we read together. The goal is to read one book per month and 12 books per year together. It is our virtual book club. So for anyone that is new, thank you so much for clicking on this link and having a level of curiosity about what this virtual book club is all about. So we have finished our book for July. We don't have a book assignment for August. So in this particular episode, I wanted to go through the books that we have read thus far and just high-level thoughts about those books. So we have read from January to July, and here are the list of books that we read. In January, we read Atomic Habits. February, The Perfect Marriage. March, The Let Them Theory. April, The Psychology of Money. May, Daring Greatly. June, The Garden Within. And July, we just finished Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. And so I just kind of want to do like a roundup of the books that we have read thus far. Of all the books that I had chosen for January through July, the only book that I had not read before was The Psychology of Money. All the other books I had either listened to the audiobook or I had physically read the book before. And so specifically, I want to call out for January, which was Atomic Habits, and then May, Daring Greatly. Those two books I read a long time ago. I feel like it had to be at least like 10 years ago. I can't recall exactly when Atomic Habits was written, but I know for Daring Greatly, it definitely had to be at least 10 years ago. And so it was really good for me to return back to those books. There was a lot of, information that jogged my memory, but then also there was new nuggets that I took away from those books. And I had chosen Atomic Habits for January because we all know for the month of January, typically a lot of people are making their New Year's resolutions. The gyms are packed because so many people join the gym because they are going to lose those 10 pounds that they've been wanting to lose for a while. People are starting over by eating healthier. People are doing new diets and they're working out and they're doing new habits. But that book really focuses on how do we continue in those habits and not just have a period of time where you are doing those habits or you have that a lot of energy or excitement about something and then it falls off. I think about when I went to the gym. I work out at home now, but pre-pandemic, when I would go to the gym, I would not go to the gym probably for the first 3 weeks of January because it would be packed. It would be packed. But I knew that after about 3 weeks or about 2 to 3 weeks, then I could go back and return to my regular gym schedule because again, all those people that had a lot of energy and excitement and enthusiasm about making new habits and about working out would fall off by the time it was like 2 to 3 weeks, and so I could get back into my normal gym routine. But that book, he talked about what are some practical ways in which we can still have habits that we maintain and that they become a lifestyle. And so I know I'm not going in order, but just real quickly, reading May's book about daring greatly, and just the nuggets that Brene Brown really gave were things that resonated with me. And I really learned some things that I hadn't learned or had forgotten about, that I had learned from the book before, about vulnerability and about shame and what those things mean and how they show up in your life. And so it was a really great refresher, daring greatly. So I enjoyed that. In February, it was the only book, The Perfect Marriage, fiction book that we read. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I really enjoyed the book because I thought it had a lot of plots and twists and turns, but I really struggled with how to present the book to you all as a part of these episodes, because so many times I had trepidation about, am I giving away the plot? Am I making sense? Am I rambling on? So even though I really enjoyed The Perfect Marriage, that was the only fiction book that I chose because of just, I felt like it was difficult to present the information. Like when I'm reading fiction books, it's very cut and dry, and I can really easily pick out statements that resonate with me. But to present a story, a narrative, was a little bit different. So I haven't chosen if I am going to, or I should say it this way, I haven't made a decision if I'm going to choose more fiction books in the future. I might just have to tailor how I present the books if they're fiction, but I will definitely say that I do enjoy a good fiction book that has a great story, that has a lot of twists and turns, and has a lot of just twists and turns, basically. Like I just said, I definitely do enjoy a fiction book. So we'll see if I revisit it and figure out a way to present it a little bit better in the future. And then we read The Let Them Theory, which was by Mel Robbins. And so that was a really good book about let them, let us, understanding that we don't have control of anybody else. We can only have control of ourselves. And so let people be who they are, do what they do. It's about let me make the decision and the choice based upon what they do or do not do to move forward. And so that's what the Let Them Theory was about. So that was a really good book. And then we read in April, The Psychology of Money. And so talking about good money habits and how we really think about money, and some of the maybe the not so great perceptions or concepts and ideas that were passed down to us from our family about money. So it really was about how we think about money, how we need to adjust our thoughts about money, and how we can be successful with our finances. And so that's what we read in April. I already kind of touched on May, Daring Greatly. And then we read in June, the Garden Within. And I will tell you, the Garden Within had a spiritual aspect to it and had a psychological aspect to it, and a science aspect to it. And I will say that the concepts and the ideas within the Garden Within, it really was a very reflective book for me. I had to sit with a lot of the things that she was sharing, because this book focused on our emotions, and it focused on our feelings, and how it's all interconnected. Spirit, soul, and body are all interconnected. And so The Garden Within was definitely a book that I couldn't just, read very quickly through. I had to really sit and meditate and ponder and reflect and think. And I thought it was an excellent book. And then of course, we just finished reading Lean In July. And so I've shared, my thoughts and reflections about Lean In during the month of July. Well, it's still the month of July, but I would say throughout July, I've already shared my thoughts about that book, which I thought it was definitely a good book. However, it's just really focused on women that are trying to climb the corporate ladder. And so, to be honest, it wasn't, some of the concepts within it were relatable to me, but I am not on that same journey that Cheryl was on. So those are the books that we read for January through July. I cannot believe that this book club has been going on for 7 months already. Again, we are taking a respite for the month of August, but I will be sharing the book that we'll be reading for the month of September by August the 15th. I am really excited to conclude the last quarter of this year with some great picks and a few new things. So there you have it. That is my 7-month wrap up and reflections from the books that we read so far. If you missed any of the episodes, I encourage you, go back to January, go back to April, go back to even June and watch those episodes, pick up those books. That could be something that you do during this respite time in August, to go back and listen to the episodes and get those books that you missed. Before I leave you, before I sign off on the episode, I want to leave you with a couple of things, which are: 1, take some time to read today. Read a good story, read something that sharpens your mind and also causes you to grow. And then 2, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you are enjoying this channel, please comment, share with me of the books that we read January through July, which book was your favorite? Were there some takeaways that you had from those books that you were able to apply to your life? And also I want to emphasize, subscribe. In order for this channel to grow, we need you to subscribe. Thank you so very much for joining me today. And until next time, happy reading.